All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Abigail Meister, and I am from Kansas City. And I am here with two of the top leaders, probably one of the most dynamic married couples in the company Prove It. And they are, I'm privileged that they're also my leaders in the Canadian market. And so this is Nate and Anna Justice joining us today. Yeah. And you guys, I'm just gonna we're just gonna do a little bit of Q&A here. I'm gonna just toss you the very just most simple question to get started. But how did you hear about ketones initially? And just what was your first experience like in taking them?
Right. So I was given ketones I was learning strength training from one of my mentors that I'd been working with for years, and he was the type of guy that like I took everything that he said and I did it, and I didn't question it, right? Because he had had such great results with many different athletes and stuff like that, and I was an aspiring uh, trainer, strength coach, and then he gave this little packet of this powder stuff, and it was orange and not the best tasting at the time. And I remember bringing it home and trying it and drinking it, and I actually started sleeping better. And for me, that was a huge thing. I struggled with sleep. I was a military veteran, 12 years in the military. Got a lot of my life dialed in, struggled when I got home from overseas, got a lot of things dialed in my life, but my sleep, I could never really quite get back on track. And I started taking that ketones and started sleeping better. And I couldn't believe it. It took me a while because I would take it earlier in the day and I would sleep better at night. And it took me a while to figure out, is it this drink that's helping me sleep? And then sure enough, it was. And so that's my experience. I don't know if you remember yours.
Yeah, I do. We actually had just had our third baby, so life was busy. I had three kids under the age of five, and it was running with three boys all the time, and they're busy, and I was at home most of the day alone while Nate was, off traveling and working, and I was exhausted. I was absolutely exhausted. And when Nate gave me the ketones, I remember taking them and saying to him, "Is this how you're supposed to feel? Like, is this literally like I have so much energy and, I wanted to clean the house. I was able to chase the kids around. I didn't feel that afternoon crash anymore. I didn't feel like I had to lay on the couch and be like, kids, give mom 5 minutes just to chill for a second. Like, I didn't feel that anymore. And I was like, this must be normal. Like, this must be what the ketones are doing. And I just remember thinking, if I could feel like this every day, then I can do a lot more in my day.
I love that. So you guys both had a positive experience with the product. You're excited about it. But when people drink the ketones and then they realize, oh, this is actually a product within a network marketing company, if you will. First of all, because you guys both jumped in and you became huge leaders in the Canadian marketplace, really, I think you guys were expanding the conversation before you even had the product there. And most people are come with a little bit of hesitancy. Had you had any prior experience with what we call community-based marketing or network marketing? And how'd that go before? And if so, if not, what made you decide you wanted to take the ketones and form a business?
Oh, this is a funny story actually. So back it up a little bit. Anna had tried community or network marketing before, and I had a negative association with it, right? So I thought it was a scam. I thought it was overpriced. I thought it was all of these things that some people have negative associations with, right? So I didn't support her in it, and so she did okay. But I feel like um, you know, in life, anything that you do, you have to be at least united in the sense that like um, we got to support each other in it. and I was not supportive at all. So not only was I like not doing the business with her, I didn't support her in what she was doing. And, you know, I had like little negative comments um, and all this kind of thing. And I really, looking back at it, I really feel bad about that, because now we do this full time and I realize how challenging this business can be, the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs of everything. And you got to work on yourself too. And to try to build that business and have some negativity from your significant other is really, it would make it really, really challenging to succeed in. And so like if I would just recommend, if you're a spouse of somebody that's out there, like one of the most powerful things you can do, even if you don't want to do the business or share with this business opportunity, just having that support, encouraging each other in everything in life, right? And it would be very powerful. But to bring up our business story, it's kind of funny because I was the one, coincidentally enough, the guy that was opposed to this business model that posted on my Facebook, hey, I'm trying, and I did not have a thought process of building the business at once. So like you said, Abby, we jumped in pretty quick, but I didn't even understand this type of business at all. And I just thought I had found an amazing product. And so what I did was put on my Facebook, no ulterior motive, no nothing, just said, hey, trying this new product, really feeling the results to this. My sleep is improved, my energy is up, and I feel absolutely amazing. That's it. No call to action, no like, hey, reach out to me, because I didn't understand that, right? And then I remember Anna, I'll never forget this, because she was upstairs on her phone, and she looked and she yells from upstairs, "You got a bite." And I remember yelling back up to her, "What does that mean?" And so gradually we started to see the vision, and we got to know the company, and it felt like home to us, this place. It felt like, yes, it was at its infancy. Yes, it hadn't launched in Canada, but as a couple, we knew that this is a place that we wanted to plant our feet and grow, because we believed in our team, we believed in our Prove It community, and we believed in the vision and the mission of the company, and we wanted to be a part of it from the beginning to the end. And we're still here, and we're super passionate about it. It's I'll let Anna talk for now, because there's so much I can say about that, because it's changed our lives, right?
Literally. And like, just to back it up, I remember when Nate brought home a sample and wanted me to try it. And he's like, I really feel like we need to do this. Like, we need to give this a shot. And I remember looking at him, and I was actually holding one of our youngest in my arms. And I was like, I remember saying to him, "You're crazy. Like, you absolutely are crazy. Like, I cannot believe that you actually want to try this after all the years of my personal experience in a past marketing company and moving forward." And I was like, I remember saying to him, I'm like, "What happened to you? Like, what made you change?" And he's like, "No, we really need to do this." And so when he posted on social media and we had that bite, I say, I just remember thinking to myself, okay, this is going to work. And like, being united together and moving forward in this business was everything for us, because if we didn't come together and agree together on doing it, even though I was like thinking he was absolutely crazy that he wanted to try it, we still were united moving forward. And so even through the hardships of trying to get product into Canada and paying international fees and all the extra effort that it took to get product into Canadians' hands, we still were able to move forward and build, a business, because we were united together.
That's awesome. And Anna, like, I mean, clearly this is such a good example. Nate has this negative mindset about the industry. Everybody's got the nomenclature for the why nots, but it seems like it was something you were seeking out and wanted in your life. What was like your mindset around community-based marketing? Obviously, you were thrilled when you had somebody joining you saying, okay, I think we found something we can do together, but like, why did you want to do that? I mean, clearly you had 3 kids, you're a stay-at-home mom, and so you had an entrepreneurial spirit, but what was your perception about the industry? What made you excited that you wanted to find something and be in this role?
Yeah, I think initially in the first company, I was attracted to the freedom. As a mom, I was a lab tech for 10 years. I worked full-time nights and I would sleep during the day. We had a new baby at the time. And I remember the challenges because Nate also was in the military and he was working shift work. And it was crazy because I'm like, who am I going to leave my kids with? And being in the military, we were moving around so much. I didn't trust everyone to be with my children, just like a normal mom would feel. And I didn't feel comfortable having them in daycare 24/7. And I didn't want to miss the milestones of them growing up. So for me, that was like the initial attraction, is because I wanted to be with the kids in every present. Like I wanted to see the first tooth fall out. I wanted to see the first crawl. I wanted to see the first baby steps. And I knew that if I was working as a lab tech and I was sleeping throughout the day and working at night when they were in bed, I wasn't able to get up with them when they cried for mom. And so for me, that was the main focus, was I need to be with my kids. Like I only have one chance at this. And so for me, that was probably the biggest attraction.
Oh. So I hear in your story, one of the biggest probably obstacles you had to overcome was that you were launching this in a closed market at the time, paying higher prices to have it shipped to you. You guys were in at the first 8 years when I know there wasn't a lot of resources. The ketone conversation wasn't really happening. People didn't even know what it was. And you overcame so much. Was there anything else that was like almost a pivotal point where you almost stopped? If you look back on your journey here, but you maybe I'm guessing where there's one person, it's a lot easier to quit when those obstacles come in the way. But do you remember a moment where you guys kind of looked at each other and had the strength of each other to, keep going?
Just one time? There's been a few, I think there's been a few times, but, I think that I remember going and doing a booth in Toronto, and we invested like $1,500 in supplies, plane ticket, hotel room, didn't have the money. So everything's going on the credit card. And I remember coming back home and Anna's like, how many sales did you make? And there was no way to make sales at that point in time, except for people paying like twice as much money because we'd have to get it from the States. And so we made 0 sales on this whole thing. I said 0 sales, but I really think we can do this. And I don't know why, but I think that for us, our faith has a lot to do with it. So I feel like we were called to do this business. I feel like God has given us a responsibility with this business. And when times get hard and things are uncertain, if you walk back to that calling, right, it's not negotiable for us. Whether or not to go, right? And we feel like it's been given to us to steward, and it's given to us to grow and to multiply it, and we feel a responsibility with that. And just like anything else in faith, sometimes you have to, it's like that constant journey of reminding yourself of that, right? And so it's not saying that we don't have moments of doubt, we don't have moments of fear, discouragement, negativity, all of these things. But it's when we, at the end of the day, when the tears are done and the emotions are out, can we look at each other and say, this is what God has called us to do? And I feel that if God has called us to do something, he's going to give us the ability to make it through the obstacles that are inevitably going to be there. Because I think the big myth that everyone has about being an entrepreneur and doing this business is that somehow it's just going to be smooth sailing one day, and you're going to be on a beach and drinking margaritas, right? And have servants bringing you everything, and you're not lifting a finger. And when reality is, it's often overcoming obstacles, and through those obstacles, you grow And there is nothing more powerful than if you're walking in what God has called you to do, you're walking through the obstacles with the help of Him and each other, and you're growing through the process, and you look back at the person you were yesterday and you can't recognize them because you've come so far, both personally, professionally, financially, and spiritually.
I love that. I just think you nailed it on the head, because there's so much in this career that if people could be less tied to the immediate result of finances, and understand the other gains that they can have. I mean, so like if money, let's say you went 3 years and you didn't make a dime, what else has this given you as a career you've done together? That's, not material or not financial. What else have you been given that's
Yeah,
blessed your life? Yeah.
good question. So, we've been able to be part of our kids' lives with everything, like with sports, with school. I'm able to volunteer at school and be in their world throughout the day. And not to mention, like, we also are able to grow as a couple. We're together all day, which obviously brings out the good and the bad. So we've had to work through things, in our communication and in our relationship, which I feel like if we didn't work together all day, some of that stuff probably would have been stuffed or shoved under the rug, and it might have taken years for things to get worked through. But in our case, I feel like we've been on an accelerated program, not only in our business, but in our marriage and in our relationship with our kids, because, it's given us the opportunity to have to work through some of that stuff. And I like, and also too, like, I feel strongly about stewardship, and I just wanted to cover that because stewardship, like, God's given us this business, He's given us our children, He's given us our home, He's given us our dog. And, all of those things are things that God has given us to, take care of and to oversee. And so the responsibility is not only great, but I feel like a responsibility of making sure that we steward our organization properly, that we steward, our relationship with our customers and our promoters, and steward our relationship with our kids, and outside in the community volunteering, and, being good with the things that God has given us. And so with that being said, we don't, like, as a Christian, I don't feel like I have the opportunity to say no. I don't have the opportunity to sit back and watch things happen. I'm called to steward. I'm called to be the best I can be for what sphere of influence God's given me. And so, that's kind of our motto, basically.
Well, and I'll just echo that too. Like, so without, like, things I got from this business without money is, I think that I really get the process. So it kind of picks up on another question. If I was to ask myself another question about that to clarify it a bit more, it'd be like, what would I do differently? And I would actually focus on some of the non-financial aspects, because sometimes there's a difference between what you can grow slow and what you can grow fast in, right? And if people ask that question, like, what would you tell yourself if you're 20 again? And I would say, start planning and growing for the long term, right? And so this business has taught me that growth in the long term always pays off. And so, like, whether you're 40, 50, whether you're 30, like, I would start a long-term plan to grow, right? And there's a difference between, because I think too, our world is about quick fixes, right? So we want the quick money, we want the quick muscles, we want the quick abs, right? And but really, there's with the slow comes sustainability. With the slow, you kind of develop the roots to sustain what you're going to gain when you get further. And like, I help people with fat loss all the time, and it's like the people that go the slowest have the easiest time sustaining the results. The people that go fast, they end up gaining more weight, back, actually more than they did at the beginning.
Mhm.
So they're better off never even doing a diet in the first place. So I think I've just got an awareness around the slow growth. You want to push fast, you want to have seasons of sprinting, but there's value in growing slow.
Mhm.
And that's what I've got from this business.
That's amazing. And it reminds me of the saying, you can't build beyond what your personal development is.
Mhm.
Nice.
When I began this business, I think I would call my leadership capabilities coming from a lot of athletics and coaching. And in the first 3 years, I grew very fast. And I was very good at telling people what to do and motivating because I was a coach. And then I realized one day that's not really servant leadership. And I think I blew a lot of people out and kind of crashed a little bit and had to go into leaning in harder to the personal development and servant leadership, and that I can't build a team if I don't know how to show up well in relationships with people. And I think it's absolutely incredible what you said about, Anna, you guys are working every day. Sometimes when we're in this business and we're so focused on it, one of the biggest things that can lack is a marriage or a commitment to boundaries with family. And then you wake up a couple of years later with these glaring gaps in between the relationship. And I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Like, I know I have to build a solid relationship with high performing promoters in order to support them in this business. And like you said, Anna, like you and Nate got to compress time frames in your marriage and the quality of it by being business partners. And something we have to learn to do with other people every day. You get to practice every day, and it has just like it's killing two birds with one stone. And you're not neglecting each other. You have to lean in together to do better together. And I think that is so encouraging. I think that's so inspiring, even for just people who are married, thinking that they got to just focus on this and go. And that we don't want this to ever disrupt a relationship or a marriage. And so I love how it's equipped you guys to grow. And obviously that's going to resonate in your home, in your family. As parents, what kind of message or lessons have you learned from, this company that you feel like has affected your home and your children? Besides your presence with them, what do they see from their parents as entrepreneurs that you think will really almost do more than school, equipping them and setting them up for life? What are some things
Good
you've
question.
It's funny that you say that, because we have a 13-year-old who we have to fight with sometimes to go to school, because he's like, he doesn't see the value in it because of what we do. So we've kind of created a monster in our.
He actually wants to take over
He's
the
like,
Prove
he's
It
like,
business.
I'm gonna sell ketones now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's
Talk about a legacy business. You got your next runner up and coming.
Yeah.
and so like until I started, I take a couple clients as a trainer. I train a couple of corporate guys in the community as a hobby, and the boys never knew the concept of what it was like to go to work, because they were so young when we started, right? And I said, okay, I'm going to go work with these guys, and they're like, what does that even mean? Like, they didn't understand like what it is going to work, or so I think they're learning different things as an entrepreneur. Like, your time isn't money, right? That's a big lie. How can someone pay you for your time? Your time is way more valuable than money. And so you want to create something that gives you time freedom, because ultimately time is worth more than money. And so our boys are thinking like that. And also they have the ability to dream big. I think they're not limited. Like, they want to play professional sports. They want, because we don't shut down dreams in our home. That's one thing that we don't. If they say they want to,
Well, they want to be in the NHL.
they want to be
two
in
of them.
they want to be professional hockey players. And so not only do we not shut down the dreams, but we do everything in our power financially, physically. I'm coaching hockey. I'm putting hours and hours into coaching them in hockey. And just a side note, people think that this business is about freedom, is about, traveling and doing that stuff. It gives me the freedom to travel around Alberta and be a coach for my kids, right? And that's huge for us. That's what we want. Like, we would rather do that than be laying on a beach somewhere, right? And yeah, so that's some of the bullet points that I got for our kids. I don't know, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, I just think that our kids, they've learned from such a young age to dream, not only dream big, but know that they can do it. Like, I just feel like they don't have any doubt. And we every day talk to them like, hey, you score goals, you win, you're an amazing forward. Like, we speak those things into them. And honestly, we would have learned that if we weren't in this industry, because we have to do it for ourselves. So they have seen us do it and the outcome that we've achieved and what we still want to achieve. So they see that. So they're like, hey, I can do that too. And so, every day when they get on the ice, like, they'll be on the ice and they'll get off. And the two youngest will say, that wasn't my best skate, but I'm capable of this, or I'm capable of doing this much more. So like, the mindset's there, like a winning mindset. And as for Judah, like our oldest, he doesn't see the value in necessarily going to school every day, because he's like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to share ketones. And he's like, I want to take over your guys' business when you want to break. And, like, he's saying all this stuff, and it's so funny, but it's the mindset's already there, and it's already been taught because they see our lifestyle. They literally see how we live. And so it's inspiring.
And we lead from the front too. So we talk about our dreams. We talk about our goals, they see us pursuing our dreams. And so it's not like we're just sitting in the back saying, okay, boys, you can do anything you want. Well, we just accept that, we have surrendered our dreams because we're in our 40s and we're out of the game, and we could have did this, we could have done that. And it's like, no, this a platform that we're blessed to be a part of gives us the ability to pursue our dreams and become something that maybe we didn't get to do in other areas of life, right? Like, maybe I wasn't the best athlete, or I wasn't the best this, or I wasn't the best that, but this gives us an opportunity to go after something and do it at a world-class level. And our boys see us going for that, right?
And I know you guys, they see you put in the work, they see you put in the grind, they've seen you guys put in even the travel, the home parties, the mixers, the meetings. I've come up there, man, it's cold, and I've seen your hustle. I'd like to just hear, you guys have such different personalities on kind of the function of the daily and running the business. How would you guys say you complement each other? What do you at work, not working as one person on this business, but you get to work on two people on the same business. How do you kind of share the responsibilities and who owns what?
Go ahead.
Well, it's funny because we actually don't work the best together.
You're together, but you're not together.
We're together, but we're not together. So I think it's cool to really recognize and respect each other's individuality and individual contributions to the business, right? And she actually can't stand being around me when I'm working because I'm so laser focused, and I just literally cannot see anything else besides what I'm doing. And and it drives her absolutely crazy, right? And then then I kind of push that expectation to her too, and she doesn't work like that, right? She can manage multiple things at once, and she makes sure that our house doesn't fall apart and lives don't fall apart, whereas the building could burn down around me and I would still
I'm gonna finish this reel.
I'm finishing this reel, right? This reel is getting done regardless. So we're very different how we work this business, but we do complement each other. She thinks of things that I don't. I think of things that she doesn't. And we've learned to come together. And something that's very important if you're working as a couple is you have to learn how to have conflict properly. because conflict is not a bad thing. It's actually how things are worked out.
Mhm.
And if you don't have conflict, chances are you're probably harboring stuff,
Mhm.
and which is not healthy for a relationship.
Mhm.
And so have the conflict, but do it in a way that's emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And if it's a business conversation, it's a business conversation. Don't turn it personal, because it can't be about, hey, you always have done that, or you've always done that, because
Right.
it can get personal, right? It's the lines are blurred with what we do a little bit. And so
Mhm.
you have to walk stuff back sometimes. You have to be quick to apologize,
Mhm.
repent, pray together.
Mhm.
And one healthy thing that we do is we separate we block off some time for us as a couple.
Mhm.
And because you can work all the time, you can do this and do that, and the lines can get blurred, and we've tried that before, but it's pretty
Mhm.
hard to work in. Like, you're not gonna go from like talking this hardcore business conversation
Mhm.
to jumping in the sack with each other, right? It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you need to have some time where you're talking about life,
Mhm.
you're going for lunch, you're spending some time dating each other, and we're pretty good at that. We get
Yeah.
little getaways, we get an overnighter if we can once in a while
Mhm.
with the
And we do
kids.
lunch once a week.
So that's kind of in a roundabout way how we work it differently, unless you have more you want to add to that.
No, like we try to do like a lunch once a week or a breakfast or something like that, where it's not necessarily business. It's just us spending time together as a couple and not doing the business conversation. Because sometimes, especially in the beginning, we would overlap a lot of things, the relationship, the business, the kids. It was just like, and it never really felt like it was a break when we were out together. It just felt like it was just so much more to have to decompress from. And so we learned to kind of like separate the two. And I think it was a lot healthier. Another thing too, and I'll just add to it, when you have a couple in, a business together and they have children, one person usually has to make the decision to stay back with the kids. And so, my heart has always been with the kids. Nate does the majority of the traveling in this season, going to events and, being with a team if, he needs to do events and stuff. And for me, I've been okay with that. I initially was feeling, very much like I'm missing out. And then I realized like when I was back, I was able to contribute so much more. Plus I was able to keep the train rolling when he got back.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've traveled together and that's great. We do it as much as we can. And when Nate travels alone, we always make sure that there's another male promoter that travels with him, or meeting him somewhere, just because that's a safeguard we've done with our marriage. And that's something that we've always made a priority of. But when I'm home, I'm able to answer people's questions because ironically enough, in this industry, when you're traveling, people are super attracted to, what's happening and the opportunity. And so a lot of times Nate can't always answer every question or get on every call when people are interested. And so from my end, I can actually do that stuff. And, when people are super engaged and they want to be part of what's happening and even join the business, share ketones, want to try ketones, it just always seems like the level just seems to go up. And so, so when I'm back, I can not only focus on the kids, make sure that their needs are met, but also be part of, doing the business from the house.
And it helps me focus when I'm on the road, because I don't have that gap in my heart where I'm like thinking about the kids. I can actually just be like, they're taken care of by the best hands possible. I can work, and I feel a responsibility to do good work because I'm supporting that whole team that's at home, right? So it kind of all works together like that.
Mhm.
I love that. And just from an outsider looking in, I have noticed, that, um, Anna, you have such good like customer care and promoter care and relationships with people. And I know you do, text, customer text, you're sharing resources constantly, you're figuring out back office issues and supporting people. And then I've seen Nate, you take that almost like you've really grown in your social media presence, kind of that attraction piece And it's been cool to watch you guys function together. One person doing it, I got to do the attraction, I got to do the social, and then the customer care is sometimes the thing I think we put on the burner, the back burner. And if I had another hand, like that is valuable because those customers who feel taken care of and feel relationships built with, sometimes they can become your best promoters. And
Mhm.
those can sometimes be the piece that drops off. And I love how you guys have built this together and you've been able to pick up on sometimes what one person would have challenges with carrying it all. So, and I know lately you have been attracting more couples into your Prove It business. Has that been fun for you guys? Like dealing, with other couples and sharing like how it is a family affair?
Yeah, and it breaks the it kind of breaks some mold,
Mhm.
I wouldn't say molds, but it kind of breaks some thought processes of like who or what you're attracting, because I think, we've had people, couples come up to us and say, hey, like, um and they're successful people, right? Like, come up to us and say, hey, like, we're really jealous of your lifestyle. And what do you mean they're jealous? They're not jealous of us, traveling. They're not jealous of us
Mhm.
um, because we have a nice truck or anything like that. They're jealous of us because we get to be at every single one of our kids' hockey games, and they're at their
Mhm.
business, even though they're successful.
Mhm.
They don't have that freedom, and they're missing out on these moments.
Mhm.
And so there's a different kind of attraction when it comes to couples. They're attracted to like family. They're attracted to freedom. They're
Mhm.
attracted to finances, yes, but as a means to an end, not the end itself, if that makes sense. They're not
Yeah.
interested in wearing,
Mhm.
designer clothes. They're interested in,
Mhm.
getting a hotel room for the weekend and not having to worry about it because they're traveling with their kids at a
Mhm.
sports tournament, right?
Mhm.
So um, it's really cool, actually. It's really cool
Mhm.
because it lines up with our values.
Mhm.
And if we can empower some couples to do
Mhm.
that and spend time with their kids,
Yeah.
I feel like we're making the world a better place because we're bringing families together
Mhm.
through this platform, which is really amazing.
I think that's the perfect line to end on. Anna, do you have any other thing that you want to say?
Oh, he covered it all.
Beautiful. You guys, thank you so much for your time today. I think this is such a valuable resource to show what's possible and just an amazing opportunity for couples and families to do life together and grow. So I appreciate your guys's your marriage, your light, the witnesses, and just the role you play in my life, our community. And I hope this can be something that might just ignite a spark to something people were already wondering about. So thank you for your words and your time today. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
thank
too.
you.
Okay.